What is up, Podvengers? Welcome back to another episode of the Podtastic Four, a talk show by the fans for the fans. This is a nerd culture podcast where we talk about everything pop culture related, Marvel, DC, Star Wars, movies, video games, and more. My name is Matt Wahoo, aka The Great Blacksby, and on behalf of everyone here, we'd like to thank you for joining us for another episode of your new favorite podcast. Yes, your new favorite podcast. Today I have with me Luis and Graham. Araya couldn't make it tonight. She's got something going on, but much love to her. We'll see you on a future episode. And we are so excited to jump into today's discussion. We got a lot of things going on in the pop culture world. Today's episode is a DC-centered episode because of, like we discussed the last couple of days, the last few weeks, we've talked about everything that we've seen and heard from the rumor mills, from the blogs, the reporters, and then from James Gunn himself. We've seen from the horse's mouth, from the goat's mouth, because James Goat, that's my guy. I stand by him. I stand 10 toes down for Gunn and Safran.
Safran too, yeah.
They goated. They're legendary. So they just stepped into the new role as CEO of the newly christened DC Studios. And, you know, the hierarchy of power at DC has definitely changed. A lot of things are going on. A lot of uncertainty is happening. A lot of craziness is brewing. And people definitely have questions. The DCEU is being reshaped into the new DCU. It's going to be a more connected cinematic universe involving the iconic characters that we've already seen from the world of detective comics. You know, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, the Trinity right there. And, of course, you got Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, Cyborg, The Flash, Booster Gold, Blue Beetle. I keep going and going. I don't want to just start throwing characters out there and then they just never show up. Or I throw them out there and they haven't announced any actual plans for them just yet. But anyways, if you know about DC Comics, you know where I'm going with this. Right. They're trying to make a more connected world here with a lot of new developments emerging. And we here at the Podtastic Four will be doing a more in-depth dive into the news updates, as well as drop our own, predictions for the future of DC. We're going to just try and make this more DC focused. We've done a lot of Marvel. We've done a lot of whatever universe Top Gun is in, the Top Gun cinematic universe, the Glenn Powell cinematic universe. We're in there.
Yeah.
But we wanted to do a shift and focus on DC for this episode because, like I said, all the relevant news going on today.
So much.
So speaking of news, we're going to introduce a new segment called Nerd News Network. Just a segment where we provide you with some updates that are happening in the pop culture world that we may have seen or heard during the week. So
we just need theme music for it. It's news,
we're working on it.
There's some slack.
Something catchy. Luis, go ahead and take it away for us.
Yeah. So just in the first episode of Nerd News Network, we just have some updates about a lot of pop culture stuff. This past week gave us our first look at the much anticipated Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movie, which will release on December 13th. And, reactions are, as expected, incredibly positive. Yeah, people are really looking forward to it. My main question, and I'll try not to go on a tangent about Across the Spider-Verse, is: do we think that Spider-Man Lotus is the main villain of the movie?
Yes, absolutely. That guy is the main one,
and then they'll all team up to actually take him out. And that's actually the secret villain that we don't know about. But also
reverse Spider-Man.
It is the Spot, though. I don't know if y'all heard that, though. It is confirmed to be the Spot as the main
that's the enemy.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I think it's like a goofy character, but I'm all in. He could be badass.
Well, that's what they need to do, right? After you reboot these movies for long, you have to start introducing characters that are lesser known and more
out of pocket.
Yeah,
more niche characters.
Yeah, exactly.
And when just seeing what they did in Into the Spider-Verse. I trust they can throw anybody in there. I trust them. I know they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it right.
I mean, look at what Insomniac, Negative Man.
Yeah,
he would be
Mr.
awesome.
Negative. Sorry, Mr. Negative.
Mr. Negative. Yeah, he would be. He was one of my favorite newer stories of a Spider-Man villain.
My bad.
I loved him. Doc Ock in it was great, but Mr. Negative, I don't remember really any time you see him. Maybe in the Spectacular Spider-Man, but I don't think he was even in that.
Yeah. Exactly. Speaking of more news, Luis, go ahead and tell us what about. I heard some stuff about Oppenheimer.
Oh yeah, so Christopher Nolan's upcoming film Oppenheimer reportedly recreates a nuclear bomb blast without using any CGI. That's insane.
How?
I have no idea. Leave
You
it to
know,
Chris Nolan to, I don't
Bingo.
know, man, invent a non-disastrous way to create a nuclear bomb. But I mean, whatever. I mean,
I mean,
I'm in.
I'm in. Yeah,
I'm
that's it.
in.
I'm in.
I
I'm
was in
down.
when I just heard the cast, but you tell me there's going to be a atomic bomb explosion in it.
That's
Is
not CGI.
it. I'm in.
And the TikTok memes that have come out of this news is incredibly funny and keep me entertained for hours on end. So
I'm with all of it.
He
Yeah.
also talked about Cillian Murphy and RDJ about how they're like two of the greatest actors he thinks of all time.
oh yeah, they probably eat
Cillian
in this
Murphy, I
movie.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree with
They
Cillian Murphy.
probably eat. They probably
RDJ, I bet they
they
take the
eat in this
show.
movie. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. We
Cillian
also,
specifically.
yeah, Killian's amazing. We also got a trailer for for an upcoming Adam Driver movie. It's called 65. To be honest, I think it looks like trash. And it comes from the writers of A Quiet Place, who also take up directing duties on this time around. But also, the world of DC remains in flux, as inaccurate reports of what co-CEOs James Gunn and Peter Safran have planned continue to cause confusion. The Banshees of Inisherin and The Fablemans are both currently available on VOD and /or streaming. Banshees of Inisherin is on HBO Max. Definitely check it out. If you haven't seen our past episode where we talk about it, you should definitely go check that out too. On any podcast networks, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever.
YouTube, if you subscribe to the YouTube, check it out.
YouTube channel. But yeah, and then that's about it. That's all the news that we've had this week in regards to nerd news. And we will get more into what exactly is going on in DC and our thoughts on it as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Luis. We appreciate that. Up next, we have a section of the show that we'd like to use to highlight moments in pop culture history that occurred on this date. So today is December 16th, the day you're listening to or watching this podcast. And on December 16th, Benjamin Bratt was born in 1963, iconic actor. Also, iconic actress Kristen Ritter was born in 1981. If you guys have seen Jessica Jones, there you go.
Okay.
Go. Dumb and Dumber was released in theaters in 1994. And then Sherlock in 2011, we had a triple header here. We had Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Shipwrecked, and then Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol. They were all released in 2011. That's like a super sequel day. You know what I'm saying? Like that was insane.
Beginning of the end.
Right. And then also today on the 16th, we got James Cameron's Avatar: The Way of Water hitting theaters today. It's a much anticipated sequel to the much anticipated and long overdue sequel to 2009's Avatar.
Overdue,
and it's really being touted as a visual masterpiece. James Cameron he's talking his shit. He's saying like this is better than the visuals of Avengers with Thanos. You know what? It's been like 13 years? Yes. I'm not even gonna try and do the mental math right now. 13 years and some change since the last Avatar. I haven't thought of that movie since then. And to be hearing this and hearing how it's being hyped up, I'm like, I might check it out. And then lastly, Dwayne The Rock Johnson's the Dwayne The Rock Johnson led DC film Black Adam is hit streaming today on HBO. If you haven't seen it yet,
no, that's when I'll be watching it, boys.
Check it out.
The cause of DC's downfall.
Black Adam.
We'll get into that part, but tell them the Men in Black sent you. You know what I'm saying? That was terrible. Anyways, let's dive into what we got with the DCU and what James Gunn and Peter Safran are cooking up. So,
what was the first piece of news that dropped today? Was it the tweet about the Matt Reeves Batman movie?
Before we start with that, we're going to go back a little bit further to between the behind the scenes thing for you guys listening and watching. As soon as an episode ends that we record, the next episode goes straight into production stage, writing, planning, all that stuff. So while we had finished up talking about the updates with DC and talking about the Fablemans and everything, and all the stuff we talked about in Top Gun, Devotion, all that stuff. News was dropping actually that day about, you know, rumored plans for the DCU, and that Wonder Woman was getting canceled. We're not getting another Wonder Woman film. Patty Jenkins stepped away, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And it turned out to be all misconstrued.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term, misconstrued fake news.
Yeah.
And James Gunn did a good job refuting all of that day. Now, fast forward to today, the 16th. In between that day of recording that episode and today's episode, we got some news about Henry Cavill no longer being Superman. We got news about the Matt Reeves Batman being safe from the grand axing of the DCEU. There's just so much stuff happening at one time. And honestly, I got to be real with you guys. It's kind of hard to keep up now because things are coming up every day. You know, I'll be sitting at work and I'll get like 10 notifications for one thing.
I think you're being incredibly gracious in your coverage. I think it's a shit show.
It's an absolute
it is, honestly,
shit
it's
show.
a nightmare.
But like, I mean, and I don't mean that like in a negative sense. It's just like, dude, like it's like who's leaking all this information, if leaking it at all, because a lot of it is wrong. People are like all these
it's sad it's gotten to the point that James Gunn has to debunk shit all day, every day on Twitter.
All the time. Every piece of information that comes out that's false, James Gunn's like, that's not true, this and this. And then he releases new information in that thread in which he debunked the story that came out a couple of days ago.
And then other people are like, well, I heard this from somewhere, so you must be lying. The man himself, who is really the only person who him and Peter, the only people who know what the fuck is happening.
But what I was trying to get to was like, where's all this information coming from? All the fake information that we're getting, 1 or 2 fake stories. Okay, cool, I get it, right?
10 or 15.
But it's like 8. It's like the Patty Jenkins, the freaking the Henry Cavill's actually going to continue on as Superman. The Jason Momoa Lobo thing. And now it's that plus
Ezra stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Aquaman's future. Blue Beetle's coming up. Shazam 2.
But it's like there's so many things. Like, where's this coming from? Who's leaking all this to all these outlets? You know.
And you know, my thing is that I really. And James Gunn, Peter Safran, any DC person, if you're hearing this episode, please heed this advice. Don't copy Marvel word for word, but take a page out of their book for sure, and let everything be under wraps. Do not let anybody have access to, you know, insider information. Don't leak anything that's going to cause this.
Leaks are going to happen. Leaks are going to happen. But
let me finish. Let me finish what I'm trying to get to. The leaks and stuff happen, but let the main information remain hidden as much as possible. NDAs, all that great stuff. You know, we went through 10 years of the Avengers from 2008 to 2018. And leaks did happen, but nothing major that damaged or confused or threw everything in disarray. Not that I can think of at the top of my head. This whole deal with Wonder Woman, Superman, all the iconic characters in the DC universe, you know, getting all these conflicting reports.
But there's a reason this is happening is because DC is in a completely different situation than Marvel was whenever they started. Like Marvel never felt the pressure of having to play catch up with another movie studio who also had comic book characters, who was also trying to build a cinematic universe and was 10 years ahead of you, right? Yep. DC had been playing catch up from day one. Right, so
they wanted to skip that 10-year gap of building up stories and stuff. They wanted to go straight into. You don't make a Batman versus Superman movie off rip
5 years
after what 4 or 5 years after Man of Steel, where you're almost kind of like, are we even going to get a Man of Steel 2? Which throw that out the window now. Thankfully, we know now after almost 15 years after, however long that's not happening.
And it goes back to that comment that I made about it being a shit show. Is that it's just poorly run right from the get-go, and so that's why it seems like DC's in the situation it's now. All this like fake information, all these conflicting reports, all like the fandom being so divided, just like what is going on and so confused. And
they've done it themselves.
Exactly.
They've shot themselves in the foot over and over and over again.
You have the Snyder faction, then you have the I guess the Gunn faction. It's just going back and forth at each other. But like what Luis is saying, the reason why it's such a chaotic mess, I don't blame Gunn and Safran at all. They walked into this with a dumpster fire, and they're trying to douse the flames. They're trying to douse the flames from the previous leadership, the previous hierarchy of power. They're trying to figure out how to move away from that in a way that creates that connected universe, that solid cinematic universe across all mediums, not just the movies, the video games, the TV shows. I guess even maybe even the comics.
But see, that seems
like games and stuff. But
that seems like they're biting off more than they can chew, though. It's like you guys can barely establish a cinematic universe. Now you want to establish a universe that's composed of movies, TV shows,
all the popular mediums.
And maybe
every popular
comic
medium.
books. So every form of storytelling medium that you could possibly be involved with. You
animation,
want to be animation. You want to be an interconnected universe. That's fucking crazy. You guys can barely make movies that are coherent and make sense and are good. Yet you expect to branch out. So I mean,
hope to God they don't just throw the multiverse sticker on there. That's what I don't want. If they just throw multiverse sticker, this is a different universe. This is a different universe. But don't do that. Marvel's finally doing that. You kind of like, don't just, like you said, take a page or multiple pages from Marvel. You can't say that's a multiverse just because you can't
I
decide where you want to make stories and stuff, though. It's cheap. It's an easy way, like it's a quick way out. And I just like, maybe 10 years down the line, like hopefully then
I thought it was a good cop out in that you could just be like, okay, multiverse, right? This is a new universe. The DC Snyder stuff was in an old universe.
That's what the Flash. Maybe that's what the Flash
is
doing.
About it. Exactly.
That's what it's just like it's so wild. You know, you had. Dude, they brought Henry back. They hyped it up, Henry back. They spoiled that Henry was coming back for the movie for Black Adam. And then the studio tell him
DC themselves didn't hype it up. Other people did. Certain influencers, certain mega stars hyped it up.
Certain
names who will not be named hyped it up to a level.
Why would DC have allowed that?
You saw the story come out about.
They knew with the fact was going to be hired. It's not like it came out like from one day to the next. By the time that cameo with Henry Cavill was filmed for Black Adam, they knew James Gunn and Peter Safran were going to take over DC. They knew that they were probably going to reboot the entire DCEU, right?
So I want to extend.
So why let that happen?
I want to extend them some grace and say maybe the cameo and everything was planned prior. James Gunn, Safran. Acquisition,
for sure.
James Gunn Safran acquisition, but I don't think they figured that these two would come up with a whole new plan, scrapping the whole universe.
I also don't think they could have, especially with
everything. Yeah, that too.
Like he would not have let him fuck with any.
Because I mean, he's fought with us for how many years? 15 years to get this going.
I believe
something like that.
Yeah, it's been since 2005. I want to say that he's been Black Adam for that long.
Yeah,
I don't really kind of believe in that story. I'm sure you've wanted to play him for that long, but I don't think it's been production since 2004, 2005.
He's in his LeBron James. But the thing with
James Gunn comes out and everyone's hyped up about Gunn coming in and cutting all the stuff, cutting all the baggage. And then it comes out that, maybe we were being a little too mean to Walter Hamada and all them because he actually had this plan to bring Henry back for the Crisis thing.
God,
but see, that goes hold on. That goes right back to what we were talking about multiverse, though. You can't just do Crisis and then start yanking everybody from everywhere as a cop out. What were they gonna do? Make Michael Keaton Batman meet Ben Affleck?
Well, did they do Crisis on
That's
what?
Well, that was
CW
actually
universe?
Yes, they did.
They did,
which makes everything multiversal. That's the best part of that whole.
That was the best part of the whole
CW shit.
But that's the thing. The CW shows have been around since when? Arrow came out a long time
since I was in high school,
2008.
2008. The Flash.
Don't quote.
Flash came out 12 or something like that because I was watching the Flash my freshman year.
And you know what?
It's been
I stopped watching it after season 3 or 4 or whatever. At least something 5. I stopped at 4.
I love.
Man, it was good and it just went down.
But what I'm saying is that it's
Multiversal stuff is already established.
Feel how
I guess.
You may about the Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline in the CW shows. It was earned in a sense, right? Because they worked up to it.
Yes,
they had the Flash,
Legends,
Arrow. They had
Arrow,
Batgirl.
They had everything.
That came out later, which was tragically bad.
Supergirl's
actually kind of good.
So they worked up to it.
They built a universe.
People hated on the CW stuff, and I do too. But
Superman
it had
and
cohesion.
Yes,
Superman and Lois. Tyler Hoechlin as Superman is
honestly
really
that
good.
That is the one Superman project that's out right now that I'm like, this is giving me hope because it's not bad. I don't hate watching it. It's actually pretty good. I burned through season when I watched
feels like
it,
Superman.
Yeah,
like it really feels like all-star Superman-ish.
I binged the entirety of season 1. The cinematography, the graphic, the VFX of that show.
The budget.
It's hard to it's a TV show and it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you got movies where you got friggin' Henry Cavill's face is CGI'd and
the mustache was cut off.
I was like,
okay, so we were talking about it being a shit show.
Right? Yeah, sorry, go for it.
Go ahead.
Let's just kind of talk into the Zack Snyder cultist fan stuff. So they put them, like we said, they shot themselves in the foot.
Yes.
They could have been done with Zack and really not listen to the fans. It's cool that you listen to the fans, but they made a big mistake by letting them do the cut.
Release the Snyder cut.
I was so happy they did it because I needed that. I needed that somewhat of a conclusion to which, God, it's nowhere near a conclusion to a story. We're not going to see that. Grow up. It's time to move on. It's been time to move on before the Snyder cut even came out.
But that's a double-edged sword. That's very interesting that you say that because as somebody who did not like the Snyder
we would have suffered through what we're going through right now probably 4 or 5 years ago, and right now we would probably be getting new stories.
But here's the thing: it's like it all kind of like worked out. Like so, COVID happened, and that's when the Snyder cut was released,
streaming services started to be a thing. HBO Max
was popping.
That's the only reason they brought it back. That is the only reason.
Yo, we need some shit for the streamer. We have no content. We think these nerds are complaining about
these nerds.
The Snyder cut.
What 2.5 million tweets about restore it or whatever.
Yeah, so
I'm not gonna lie, I may have tweeted a little bit.
Oh, I did about 200 times.
But
no, that's cap. That's
I tweeted. I may have
that's cap.
I may have fired off 1 or 2 tweets, 1 or 200 tweets here and there.
200,
that's why they did it, right? Because of COVID and people were complaining. They're like, okay, we need content for HBO Max. Might as well. Yeah. We'll let Zack have his swan song. We'll let these fans stop crying and bitching, and we'll put on HBO Max.
But all it did was cause more bitching and more asking and more and more and more
under their ass. And like, yo, this is what I wanted. This is
it was so good. It was so good. It was so good. I mean, there's a lot of shit that can get cut out. It's a long movie. It's what 4 hours?
And then look at what they're doing with the Ayer cut too. I mean, I'm not. I'm gonna be real with
that's
you.
not happening.
I love David Ayer. I love David Ayer.
No one wants to
him.
No one wants to revisit that Suicide Squad.
Actually, look, David Ayer's a better filmmaker than Zack Snyder.
I'll give him that.
And I think, and if you could, why would the Ayer cut? He made Fury. He made End of Watch.
Okay. There you go. End of Watch is the one I was thinking.
Let me rephrase. I wouldn't watch it I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it in theaters, but if they put it on HBO, I'm in there.
Yeah, I'm in it.
Rerunning that. I'll watch it over and over.
Yeah, because it's content. Content's content.
Yeah, but this goes to an extent. Exactly like kind of how Warner Brothers Discovery has kind of been run and been just like running it's a mess, man. They're just kind of like winging it. Why would you hire Zack Snyder to be helm
kick off your universe? What?
Your universe.
Bro, it's because of 300.
If you wanted him to direct your movies, that's different. But you need, I guess Walter Hamada was in charge, right? But
was he? That's what I'm just so confused as what Walter. I want them to straight up tell us what their plan was, if there was. I mean, it came out and said something about Crisis. That is a plan. Is it a good plan? Hell no. But it's a plan. And how long would that have taken? What would have been like? Because the more stuff that came out, the farther away it got. Birds of Prey is Zack Snyder universe. What the? What does it have to do with any of that stuff other than having Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn?
And
like maybe a couple of things.
That's what it is.
What the hell's gonna? Hey, what's gonna happen to her now? Because she, to me, is the best part of the whole Snyderverse.
Look, and here's the thing: I like Birds of Prey. I like that movie. This is not shit on that movie.
Oh yeah.
I like. Right, I know, but you also like Snyder Cut.
That's because you like Journey.
Fair.
Difference of opinion. You know, so it's like, so I like that movie. That's not to say we shit on it, but like you said, that we're shitting on it. It's like you said, like, what is that movie? And here's the thing: I understand if they were like, okay, we want to make movies that different tone in vibe, setting, in whatever
same universe.
Then it's same universe. Then cool,
do that.
Do that. But they never established that before. It's like they made Man of Steel, they made Batman versus Superman, they made Wonder Woman, and we know there's the same universe. But then they also made Suicide Squad and the Suicide Squad.
Who's Suicide Squad?
And Joker and the Batman and Birds of Prey. And it's like, oh, these are all kind of related, but not really. Peacemaker, but maybe, but like
hell, Peacemaker has a whole Justice League scene at the end of it, you know.
That's the confusing part that we've been.
And this came
like,
out a few months ago.
I think Luis and I talked about stuff during the Batman, about how everything's all wonky. Graham and I have been talking for a good minute. I remember we were at the bar at Fry Street and we just went on for like an hour talking about some shit. I was like, dude, none of this. I was like, none of this stuff makes sense. I think we had actually started talking about Justice League. I think I had just seen the 2017 garbage Justice League. I was like, nah, bro. I was
it is atrocious.
I said, I think the word for word, I said that and I was cut it off, start over right now.
Bingo.
Destroy.
We both said it.
Keep everybody,
bury it.
Scrap every story.
You know when
don't
I
even
said
go
that?
into origin.
You know when I said that? Man of Steel. I said scrap, start over, not make a universe. If this is the tone and this is the vibe, and this is the Superman we're getting, it's a good movie. I like it, but I just didn't feel like it would work.
It's not Superman. It really is not Superman.
Sure, that's cool, and that's fine. I like having a take on.
I like different takes, but you can't not.
But that's not sustainable for 10 years.
And the issue is that they went and looked. He looked at 300 and Watchmen and said, "I'm going to apply this to every other character."
Well, that's what he does. That's his.
You can't do that.
Sucker Punch.
Like you said with Superman. Superman is a beacon of hope. Superman is bright colored, happy. A genuinely good person. He's a Boy Scout. He's the one person you trust to do. And then he's over here
beats the shit out of Bruce for no reason. He's like, we need to talk, and he doesn't talk. Okay, murder is odd. That's I love.
Why did he do that? Why was that allowed? What did that have to do with anything?
I don't know.
Put him in the Phantom Zone.
But here's also my thing. I think if he would have set his story up better, we would have actually had an understanding as to why he did that, and he would have dealt with the backlash of him destroying Metropolis, killing a man.
I think that's a good.
That's what I heard. The second one was going to be about.
I think that's a very good point, Graham.
If we wouldn't have went straight into BVS, give us Man of Steel 2 years after that, and have him feel horrible, and he becomes that Boy Scout because he's like, I destroyed this city. He killed people. I don't give a hell. I don't give a damn what you say. People died in that movie. In that fight, a shit ton of people died. He needed to deal with that and not go straight into dealing with whatever the hell Lois was going through, whatever his mom was going through at BVS. Martha. Like, none of that mattered, man.
I mean, and let's say that's the story you want to tell, but it just seems like they didn't have it goes back to what we've been saying this entire time.
No game plan,
no game plan, no roadmap, no cohesive vision.
So, do we feel confident in James Gunn?
Me personally, after seeing what he did with, and we discussed this on that last episode. After seeing what he did with Guardians, after seeing what he did with
I'm
Guardians,
all in,
and even with the Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad, I'm all in. I'm not gonna be the one to flip flop and backtrack. I'm here for it. I want to see what he does because we haven't seen something set up in a manner that would be cohesive, like we've been talking about.
Just from a logistical standpoint, like I know people don't like James Gunn. I know people have their whatever. I like him.
I've got a couple issues with him.
Sure, of course.
I love him.
Yeah. I think his movies are good. I think his comic book movies are fun.
He's a little too funny sometimes for me.
Sure,
I hope that doesn't kind of bleed into. I think that's what most people are worried about. is that he's the head of, a comic book studio. Understandable. He's right. He come out and straight up said that he's writing the next Superman movie a few hours before we got on this.
Yeah,
I don't know if I like it. I would prefer him to maybe set out a story that he wants someone.
But he produced that movie called Brightburn. I don't know,
which is amazing. I love Brightburn.
Years ago.
That shit went hard.
Yeah,
that shit went
hard like 3 or 4 years ago, and it's about basically an evil Superman.
Evil Superman,
mm-hmm. Red, like not a red sun, but an evil Superman.
And I know he didn't write or direct it, produced it, but like his, I just feel like he can do like something different, and I think he's a better filmmaker than Zack Snyder. I think
now that I'm thinking
he's had
about
more success than Zack Snyder, and I think that considering that he's a CEO. Right, he's not going to be involved in writing or directing every movie.
Everything.
I feel like he's going to give directors,
executive producing. That's pretty much.
Yeah, I would rather him have straight up told us. I would rather him have told us he was writing the Lobo movie and straight up said that that we're doing Lobo. We're going balls deep in Lobo, and it will be Jason Momoa.
You know what would be really happening, and it's not going to be Jason Momoa.
I know, right?
I would actually be pretty upset because they both have said too much stuff. I saw someone talking about
this up. We're boosting
I saw
it,
someone talking about getting the guy that voices Kratos in God of War. I can't think of his name.
Christopher Judge.
Yes. Dude, imagine that.
That would be
that would be sick. Or someone also told me Brainiac. Him as Brainiac. That's who I want.
I want anything, to be honest.
I feel like
Martian Manhunter.
He has got to be. Brainiac has to be the next Superman.
Touching back on Superman and James Gunn. And tone wise, first of all, let's make this clear.
His funny tone might actually work with Superman.
Well, yeah, with Superman, but as long as Batman stays dark and gritty, I'm okay with it. And now back to Superman. There's a blueprint already in place. I don't know if you guys have seen the animated. I believe it's called Superman Man of Tomorrow. Have y'all seen that on HBO?
No, I
think so.
Bro, when y'all get a chance?
Yes, it is. It is Man of Tomorrow.
When y'all get a chance to watch that, it's a solid film. I think Darren Criss is the voice of Superman. That's a solid blueprint right there. I'm not saying copy it word for word, but they're talking about doing a younger Clark Kent. I think he's getting branched out in Metropolis as a reporter. And he's also, learning himself as Superman. It's like year 1, year 2 Superman type thing, like the Batman was year 2, basically.
But Zack Snyder
why not do something like that?
These stories have existed since before Zack Snyder even took charge. It's just
but that's
picking that filmmaker to helm your universe who has a very specific vision and a very specific style. I just feel like James Gunn fits. A little better.
He knows comic book movies.
That's what I'm saying. He's gonna look at the material. He's gonna look at everything and be like, how are we gonna get from not just from younger Superman, but also how we're gonna bring in Kingdom Come Superman? How are we gonna bring in Val Zod from Earth 2? How are we gonna bring in Red Sun? How are we gonna bring in every type of
Bizarro?
Make Bizarro, exactly. How are we gonna make all types of things happen and build a real world where everyone can see, oh my gosh, we're not just here with Earth 1 Clark Kent. We're with Earth 65 Clark Kent, where he's doing some weird shit. Who knows?
Also, something I think we need to touch on is the Patty Jenkins well.
I think we should do that after the break. I think we should hit that after the break. We're going to keep talking DC after the break.
We'll get into what we're going to do is we're going to get into the Patty Jenkins thing. We have so much to cover, honestly.
Yeah,
this is probably going to be one of our most in-depth episodes to date. I mean, the first one was definitely in-depth because we were talking about Black Panther Wakanda Forever the week after it came out. But this is big stuff, guys. Like, this is huge.
The future is going to be nuts.
We've been asking, what are they cooking? Like, what was he cooking?
And I'm drinking, so I'm off a perk.
You're drinking? Should I go bust one down?
He's toasted. He's up. He's on.
I'm gonna go bust one down after break. I'm gonna go get a beer.
There's so many things that I've just been, whenever we were essentially building up to this episode. Just so many thoughts were going around in my head, especially while we're doing the actual talk about the DC news that happened. I was like, dude, what's gonna happen moving forward? What are they gonna do? Are they gonna use the Flash as a giant reset, like I've been saying?
Why has he been?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
So why would he be teasing Kingdom Come so much if we're gonna have this reboot and then you want to do Kingdom Come and if they do Kingdom Come, he's gonna have to bring back the OGs. Ben, Henry, maybe that's what they're going to build up to.
Brandon Routh?
Dude, okay.
I want to,
I want more of him and
Kevin
Tom.
Spacey.
Yeah, I forgot he was even Lex.
Yeah.
Oh shit. It's a
Jesse
good movie
Eisenberg.
though. That's one of my
like
favorites. That's
where Bryan Singer is the director. God, that was
bro. The same X-Men Bryan Singer. That's the same X-Men Bryan Singer.
Oh,
Bryan Singer.
Yeah, he had some good movies before.
Yeah, but
did y'all ever see? Y'all seen Nicolas Cage? Test pics of him in the suit, right?
And what's his face?
Yes,
is,
the Superman.
I don't remember.
Lives.
Was it going to be
Tim Burton?
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton.
I low key wish. I kind of want that.
So it was going to be called Superman Lives, and I think it was supposed to be
after Returns,
connected with Batman. With Batman. All the Batman shit.
Well, someone actually came out today. That was either yesterday or today. And I'm pretty sure Tim Burton straight up said that. Well, I mean, I think everyone knew, but Michael Keaton and Christopher Reeves were set in the same world.
That one.
I think
we talked about that on the group chat a little bit, but everyone knew that one. Christopher Reeves, 4 Superman movies, and then there was a gap of time, and then Brandon Routh's movie is the same mainline universe.
Yeah,
but that's not that has nothing to do with DC's Snyderverse or anything. And
that one's outside of.
They brought it in with Crisis. They brought it in with Crisis.
Yeah, but that's a multiverse storyline.
That's different. Yeah.
Okay.
And they made him Kingdom Come.
There was an influencer who said that they were tied together, and they're not. So check yourself before you wreck yourself, bro.
See, Man of Steel was supposed to be like the launch point of the new DC, and they bunged that up somehow.
Yeah, and it was ass.
Whenever DC was separate, I was really liking the Nolan verse. I liked I liked the Dark Knight for the longest time.
Oh yeah, the first
Me personally, that was my favorite. One of my favorite. That's definitely one of my favorite Batman movies. Until Batman came out.
I got Nolan verse takes if y'all want to discuss that, but I think we should go on break first.
Yeah, we should definitely take because this is about to get really. It's gonna get really long-winded. People have to, take care of themselves. Yeah. Bathroom breaks, refills, all that.
Drink.
So if you're
we ain't got no spoiler alerts today, I don't think.
No, there's no spoilers today.
If we do, unless you just have been living,
you've just been living under a rock for the last 15, 20
I'm not
years.
Sorry, not really sorry, actually.
So if you are still listening to this on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Playlists, Apple Podcasts, or watching on YouTube, take a second to pause this video. We're going to take a quick break. You go ahead and get your little snacks and get ready for part 2.
Go get a brewski.
We're going to dive into it. We're going to get a brewski.
Because it's about to get real.
Get you some Franks, some hot dogs, some
and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to part 2 of the Podtastic Four, episode 4, where we are talking about the DC universe, the DCU, just everything going on. If you've gotten your drinks, you've gotten your snacks, you gotten your brewskis, then whatever you need to get ready for the next part, because we're about to go in. Before we even started taping this next part, I was trying to interact with people on the social media pages, just read what you guys are talking about, what stuff is going on. And somebody brought up a good point about James Gunn's already made DC projects. We got 2 of them. We got the Suicide Squad, came out in 2021. Sorry,
it was one of the first pandemic
right
films,
when the pandemic started to die down, but still.
And that's when that one was the big deal. Dropped in theaters and dropped on HBO.
Flopped in theaters.
It flopped in theaters, but it was super successful on HBO because for obvious reasons. And then Peacemaker also on HBO. Goatmaker. I mean, I'm saying Peacemaker. That was my guy. John Cena. You can't see me, but you can see this podcast.
Adam.
I will. Trust me, I will. So those 2 things dropped, and they really did open up a world of possibility for DC prior to James Gunn and Peter Safran becoming CEOs. Some things that were brought up on the Twitter page that we're interacting with you awesome, amazing fans, you Podvengers. Thank you guys so much, by the way.
Thanks,
we
Mom.
do this for you guys. We love you all. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad, aunties, cousins, everybody.
Thanks, Mom.
The dog in the corner, all that.
That dog.
So yeah, or somebody brought up that if James Gunn's gonna reboot everything, he's got to reboot everything. That means Amelia Harcourt's character, Amelia Harcourt, played by James Gunn's wife, Jenna Holland, Jennifer Holland, and then John Cena. Yeah, John Cena's Peacemaker. Which it would be really hard to see those two projects go, because they were very, very good. They're the two projects from DC, besides the Batman, but the two projects from DC that I did not just be like, I don't want to see this ever again.
But see, this is what people say. People are saying, oh, he doesn't have to do dick. He can do whatever
he can do whatever he wants.
He's CEO. True. If he says, I'm going to reboot everything except the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker,
that's what he's going to do.
Then that's what he's going to do. So
that's probably what he's going to do.
I was about to say, that's probably what he's going to do, because if you think about it, why would you reboot something that was successful? Why would you trash something that was successful? It's like if they look at the Batman, they're like, oh, this is great. Bye.
Cut it.
Get that out of here. We're not doing that shit ever again. Matt Reeves, you can take a hike. That would be so stupid. That'd be first of all,
but it's a lot more nuanced than that, right? Because you were saying successful in what sense? It didn't make money. So
it did not make its money back. So it being a cult classic, you can't really consider that.
If you think about it, like in the cultural sense, because look at how everyone's reaction is to the Batman versus Superman. They're hailing the Batman as like the greatest Batman product of all time.
It is,
which is a lie, because Batman: The Mask of the Phantasm still exists.
Well, yes, live action.
Shit, man, Batman Beyond, Rise of the Joker, Return of the Joker.
Graham knows ball.
But here's the thing. It's like if we're proponents of Gunn rebooting the entire DCU, right? So we can't, we got to stand by that take and be like, you got to reboot the whole thing. I love his Suicide Squad movie. I love Peacemaker, but if you are serious about rebooting this shit, then you gotta cut those.
Even Homeboy.
That doesn't mean just means it's not in the same universe.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Which
next.
is the thing, right?
I'm on the fence of an entire a hard reboot where they reboot everything and just change everyone. But as far as I want to say a restructuring, they can find a way to. And with comics, anything is possible. Comic book movies, anything is possible. We got multiverses, we got crises that can happen, and just everyone.
With DC, there's a crisis every 4 months.
Literally, I think every other issue. Once they get their main characters' main storylines out there, like boom, y'all have to deal with an intergalactic incident. Boom, y'all have to deal with a crisis.
A multiverse,
with a different version of yourself, or a different rendition of yourself.
There's so many ways they can go about this, and we've all three of us. All four of us, Araya talked about it too. All four of us talked about, they can, and this is one thing. This is honestly, I'm willing to bet my money on this. They might do this with the Flash. If they haven't, I feel like this would be the best idea, the most logical plan moving forward. Use the Flash as a reset button. Flashpoint it. Thank you. Yeah, Flashpoint the crap out of DCU.
And I'm talking when Ezra Miller runs that final run,
and he comes back. You get Wally West. You get
Wally West, and it's someone completely. Bring Grant Gustin back and have him play Wally.
Dude, but
I want him to be Barry Allen. I want him to be Barry Allen, but I want Wally. And if I get to see Grant Gustin as
the Flash
in a movie,
well,
it's Wally or Barry,
isn't Wally the Flash in what's it called? In the Justice League, the animated,
and War, right? In Justice League War, is that the one you're talking about?
I think
where they kind of meet up?
I think in the DCAU, that part he is what's it called? It is Barry.
That's the thing.
The OG Justice League
that confuses me. See, again, another report, because Warner Brothers Discovery didn't they release a statement saying that they were no longer going to be working with Ezra Miller?
Yes, he's done. He's gone. Right.
So they're done. So Ezra Miller, they're done. They're gone. They're out of here.
Do y'all just think that it's a high possibility that Grant Gustin would come back?
No, because Grant.
Okay. I think what they're gonna.
Do you think it'll be Barry or Wally?
I think they might just move forward with Wally. Hold on. Then again, let's look at it like this too. Then again, if they're rebooting, what's to say that they might not just pick another guy and be like, hey, you're Barry Allen now.
Yeah.
We got new storylines for you.
Well, Barry Allen in the original, was it either in the original Crisis or in the original Flashpoint? He I want to say it was Crisis. Barry Allen died. he was running through the Speed Force trying to fix things. I'm pretty sure it was Crisis. And dude, it's like one of the craziest comic panels.
Yeah.
It's like one of the craziest comic panels ever. He's like withering away.
Yeah.
He's running. He's like, I've got to run faster. And I'm pretty sure Wally West for 8 years, like for a prolonged amount of time, Wally was the main guy.
Yeah.
He was, and they were like, Barry's
I think
gone.
That might be
Barry's
Crisis.
dead.
I can't remember.
I think it was. I want to say it's Crisis. I don't.
There's a lot. The problem with that. There's a lot of storylines that involve the Flash of doing something drastic or time travel-y or changing the fate of the multiverse. He's that character. That's what he can do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
even in the
Flash. Look at
Flashpoint.
Look at the animated Flashpoint. Whenever they made that movie, I think it kind of reset the DC animated universe.
A little bit. Yep. It did a little bit.
It brought in
they just did it recently with that Apocalypse War animated movie, which was weird.
I saw, dude, that, oh my god.
But that ending, like the movie was crazy. I liked it because the whole Justice League Dark stuff.
Everybody got murked.
Everyone got murked. Like when you see the shot of Stargirl, I want to say, when she's like got her guts cut out open and stuff, dude, it was like, what? Dude, that Injustice movie, ass trash.
That was the worst. That was by far the worst DC animated thing. And that's the problem. Out of all the DC stuff that they have animated, it's so good. The DC animated stuff is so good, and that's the one that's the worst.
It would be better for you to watch the cutscenes from the game.
From the game,
exactly.
Yeah, in that damn movie.
Also, one thing I wanted to mention was I think people get like incredibly caught up in all like the logistics of stuff like this, but like it honestly, it's like, and we make it a big deal because we're like fans of these stories and fans of these things. It's but like honestly, like if you look at it objectively, like who gives a fuck, right? Like if tomorrow James Gunn is like, if tomorrow James Gunn's like, we're keeping this aspect of the Snyderverse, we're changing this we're recasting Ezra Miller. They're no longer in the DCU as Flash, but we're keeping Ben Affleck. But we also have Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson. But we don't have Henry Cavill. But we have somebody else. But we do have Gal Gadot and Patty. Like even if if he decides to do that, like, oh, who cares? Oh, I mean, it's all fake. Like these stories are all made up, anyways, right? And the comics are all convoluted and crazy, and people retcon shit all the time.
Yeah,
right?
but
so it's like like. I don't know.
I get it.
That's like whatever happens, right? And it's like we're gonna get the stories that we're gonna get, right? Regardless of how we feel or what we think. And I just want us to like keep our expectations low because then we're gonna get incredibly excited and we're gonna overhype
Phase
ourselves.
4 Marvel fans with Phase 4.
Exactly. And then come out incredibly
expect
disappointed.
Too much. And I do think we're going to be disappointed for a little while with DC shit. We're not going to see a DC film. It's going to be like Star Wars for the past when's the last Star Wars movie that came out?
The overarching message is going to be 1, be patient, and 2, have faith in Safran and Gunn's game plan. Like he said,
you got to give us a roadmap at some point.
We're not going to see, and there's the reports are saying they're going to announce it at the beginning of the new year. So I'm just like, let's wait until January.
That's soon.
That's what James Gunn said. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, that's once we get to 2023, we'll see what they say. We'll go from there. But I think what everyone's got to remember is that yes, we've got the Shazam 2, Shazam Fury of the Gods. We got Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. We got the Flash movie, and we got Blue Beetle coming up. Those 3 that I mentioned, minus Blue Beetle, those 4 that I mentioned minus Blue Beetle are basically up in the air. Blue Beetle could take.
Why is Blue Beetle not up in the air?
Because I feel like if they've made it to where it's not involving Shazam.
If it's a self-contained story, then it doesn't matter when
I don't think it's gonna have many ties to any of the shit that's been happening recently.
I think Blue Beetle might really be the first. Blue Beetle might be the Iron Man of the new DCU. It'll be the first movie.
That would
build
be
with it.
gnarly if it was Blue
but see,
Beetle.
then again,
the thing we gotta do though, with all that being said, the thing we gotta do is make sure to, like I said, trust James Gunn, have faith, and this is not to shade anyone or talk down about people being hyped about these kind of projects. You got to be really careful what you're hyping up, because you're getting people's expectations way up here.
Not just
and then when something's different from what you're expecting, you've just let a bunch of people down. Now they're angry at the studios because of something you said. You know, people were hyped about
kind of what I was trying to say about the Walter Hamada stuff. Like, you know, like everyone was dogging on him that he didn't want. He supposedly was adamant about Cavill not coming back. And then, you know, while he's
just
still in the chair, he was in the chair with Black Adam before James Gunn and then came out, and he obviously had to sign off.
I want to comment on y'all's comment about Blue Beetle like being like a starting off point for like the new.
I don't think he should be like the leader or anything. I just kind of think it would be like a cool like the new universe or whatever. To just
be like I said, when I say it's like
what I was
Iron
gonna say,
Man, it's gonna be like the first.
No, I get what you're saying. Movie, what I was trying to say is that I just don't think like, again, this speaks to like the dysfunction in DCU. Like that's a very shitty expectation to then put on Ángel Manuel Soto, the director of the Blue Beetle movie, because that's not what he expected. He was like, "Well, I'm just gonna make my Blue Beetle movie with Cholo Maridoña."
It's all gonna fall on it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And if that's the case, and if it's absolutely a standalone movie and it has nothing to do with the DCU at large, then
the past DCU,
the past DCU, then that's an expectation that could be, thrust upon that film's shoulders.
Absolutely.
Without like. Unexpectedly, and then that'll change people's perception of the movie because it'll be overly hyped and they'll expect something out of it.
What's this post-credit scene we're gonna get that's setting up the next 40 films that come out over time, when it's not that. It's just trying to be a Blue Beetle film.
And it's just an endless loop and an endless cycle, right?
This sucked. Well, let's put all of our expectations on the next one that blew because fucking
or if it
DC,
bombs, then now James Gunn and Peter Safran are like, whoa, let's take a break. Let's reel it in.
Or not even that, really. It's everyone else being like, well, DC, they should step back and take a step back. Like what everyone's saying with Kevin Feige, with, hey, you got to mention, Phase 4, there's some fire shit in Phase 4. There's a couple of dog water things that came out in Phase 4.
Yeah, like
but you've had reports coming out the past week and a half, 2 weeks saying they've already announced that a couple of things are going to be delayed.
Echo,
yes, that came out. It's being delayed. Quality over quantity now. Phase 4 was straight up quantity over quality, and you could tell. Like, but Kevin Feige's listening. That's not what. But Feige's just the greatest. Feige's
without getting too deep in in our Marvel bag, because we got stuff.
I guess you kind of can't compare them. But
you're very right. No, you're very right though.
Yeah,
you're still making a valid point. They should really remember that we want quality films. We do not care to get 56 films in 1 year, 56 projects in 1 year. I don't want to see.
I think that's what
I don't want to see Superman 1, Superman 2, Batman 1, Batman 2, Wonder Woman. I want to see stories.
They were kind of doing that though, which is why we got the Joker, which, regardless of how you feel about it, I liked it.
It's amazing. It's a phenomenal film.
I thought if you're looking at it, just if you're watching it and you're taking it as an art.
But what does it do?
But they did that with the Batman as well. They did the Batman. They did Joker. So they were like, we're still going to tell self-contained stories that have nothing to do with the greater DCU universe at large. We're just going to let filmmakers and actors do their thing, and then we still have our own thing on the side. So they were trying to do that. But again, it got too convoluted, and people were like, "Oh, how is Bruce Wayne that much younger than the Joker? But then is the Joker going to be in Matt Reeves' Batman? But then we also already have Barry Keoghan as the Joker." You just
also can't explain to people. People don't understand.
Too much going on.
If you're
a DC casual, you're not like us. Super fans going deep into this stuff. You don't watch this end on end or read end on end. You're not going to know what's going on. They need to make it to where it's understandable, it's digestible, and it's baby steps, more or less.
Yeah, because it sucks
that Luis just stepped away for a second. He says he's going to be right back, but I had some more points to bring up. We had talked about this before jumping back on. Emilia Harcourt's character.
Oh yeah,
Emilia. I keep saying Emilia Harcourt's character. Jennifer Holland's character, Emilia Harcourt. James Gunn's wife is Emilia Harcourt. And we talked about how if they're going to reboot everything and recast everything or whatever, they're going to reboot everything, right? They have to go through
Everything.
with that. Does that mean Viola Davis is gone as Amanda Waller? We'll see. Does that mean her character's going to get killed off and Amelia Harcourt becomes the new head of Argus, and then she becomes the Samuel L. Jackson and shows up in the Samuel L. Jackson / Nick Fury and shows up in every movie project from here on out?
Riddle me that, Batman, because she was in Black Adam. No, I mean I haven't seen him, but
just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there. So if it happens, you heard it here first. But
breaking.
Speaking of those projects in the future of DC, we talked about what happens with like we said earlier, the Batman universe is safe, but what happens with Wonder Woman moving forward? What happens with like the Shazam movie? Is that it? We're done. Aquaman, like we said, Aquaman is going to be done.
If Henry Cavill's not coming back, then why would Gal Gadot come back?
Exactly.
I want them to come back.
You think they're going to be like? You think they're going to be like? We couldn't keep Henry Cavill, but damn, I really want.
We're going to keep
Levi.
Gal Gadot or
Zachary Levi.
Zachary Levi for Shazam.
That's the future of our
Shazam.
And the first Shazam.
I wasn't even
movie,
a big fan of the Shazam movie. On the cool,
it was the one.
I loved it.
It had its issues.
It was fun,
but it wasn't bad. It wasn't like Batman vs Superman.
Awful. No,
it wasn't terrible.
That's true.
It was a very fun movie. It was a very childlike, whimsical movie for a superhero film. I liked it. I thought freaking Mark Strong killed it. I was like, I want to see him in the future.
Yeah. I want to see him as Lex.
I wanted to see him as Sinestro, but no, they screwed me over on that.
Shit.
Okay. Speaking of Green Lantern, this is now my time to start continue the agenda.
Talk your shit.
Y'all get ready.
Come on.
And I'm not going to go too long with on this because I know we got more stuff to talk about before we wrap up the episode. But bro, you heard it here. You've heard it from me before. You've heard it on other episodes. You heard it on the tweets. All that stuff. Glenn for Green Lantern, Glenn for GL, Glenn Lantern. Tweet it out. # Glenn Lantern. Glenn Powell is the guy to be Green Lantern. Now, somebody tweeted us on the page and said they thought he gives Guy Gardner vibes. I'm really here forcing the whole Glenn Lantern for Hal Jordan agenda. But when he said that, I was like, I see that too. I can kind of see it. But mainly, we are here for the Glenn Powell as Hal Jordan Green Lantern agenda.
Just want him wearing
because
a
Glenn
ring.
Powell is a fantastic actor. I want to see him step into the comic book universe. I know everyone's like, "Oh, cast him in Marvel because they got more projects." I love that. I would love to see him in the Marvel project, but right now they already have their roster of superstar.
It's their time
actors.
to hire Henry Cavill.
DC needs to look at picking up some more other names. More popular names are on the rise right now. Glenn Powell. Who's the guy you mentioned earlier? Diego Cava. Bro, pick up people who are in very good projects outside of the comic book universe and plug them in and see how they do, because there's fantastic actors that belong in these projects that can really bring something, bring a sort of.
See, I think that brings up a very good point. I think DC needs to focus on hiring talented people,
talented
actors,
writers,
talented directors,
producers,
talented
performers.
All that. If you hire a good writer, then you're gonna have a good script for the most part, right? You hire a good director and let them cook, and you're probably gonna have a pretty
without
good movie.
studio interference.
Exactly, and if you're gonna cast good actors,
Gunn,
you're probably gonna have good performances.
James Gunn knows you can't have 10 fingers
in the
someone
cookie
else's
jar.
job, someone else's work.
Yeah, but then this motherfucker's
about.
also writing a Superman movie as CEO of DC. So, like,
I don't really want to talk about that because I don't like that. I like that.
So we'll see.
I for one am okay with it because, like I said, after seeing Guardians and how they've gone with it, I want to see how it plays out. If he
you want to see Superman cracking jokes.
He cracks jokes he cracks jokes. He's a funny guy. If he's lifting a freaking bus and he's like, I got y'all on your way to or something. I don't know.
He's lifting up the bus and he says, as the kid would say, that's
I want him to be an ignorant alien, like he doesn't know how to interact with humans.
Yeah.
As long as they do the how do y'all feel about them doing the green car? You know what I'm talking about? His first appearance.
They do it in Superman and Lois. The first
I know,
episode.
That's what I'm saying.
I love that shit.
Them doing the green car.
Do it in the movie. Do it in the movie. It's his first appearance in comics.
That's the whole reason why Superman has been flopping, because they haven't done the green car at all. In Man of Steel, they didn't do that. I didn't see that. So do that.
He was just completely different than the source material.
Exactly.
James Gunn's going to do it, and it's going to flop. Oh, y'all heard? There's also news that said that, I don't know if y'all heard about this.
He's directing?
That James Gunn talked to Ben Affleck about directing a possible
So let me
project.
tell y'all,
we don't know what.
Do y'all know what's been in the works? And he is Yep.
What is it?
Deathstroke.
No.
Damn it. I swear to God, it's
no,
probably Deathstroke.
Joe
Manganiello.
He's so Manganiello. He's so bad.
Thank you.
He cannot act to save his life.
Deathstroke sucks. Deathstroke isn't a guy that really needs to act. He needs to be kind of like a dry. He just needs to be a dry, gruff, yoked.
He also needs to be like a
You
mastermind.
could cast a good actor and get him yoked. There's no problem. You don't need to cast a bad actor for that. The best thing about Joe Manganiello is that he's married to Sofia Vergara. That's it.
No, he plays Dungeons and Dragons too. Also,
you know who I would have cast?
He's a fucking nerd.
If he was, you know who I would have cast as a Deathstroke if he was a little bit younger?
Who?
Stephen Lang.
Stephen Lang.
Yeah.
The guy from the bad guy from Avatar. The bad guy from Avatar.
And he's in isn't he in what's
Avatar?
It called? No, not
Last Airbender.
No, the
what's that horror? What's that like horror movie? What's that like horror movie?
He plays a blind guy.
He's a blind guy.
That guy. Yeah. Okay.
I would have cast him because he kind of if he is a little bit younger.
Imagine him as a Ra's al Ghul.
He would have been the perfect Cable.
They gotta cast. Yes, that's what I said too. But they went with Josh Brolin.
Cable. He would have been a perfect Cable.
Cable.
Josh Brolin is a fucking sick Cable though. I like him as Cable more than Thanos. I love Thanos, but dude, his Cable
was fantastic.
I hope they bring him in.
So they're saying that
speaking of Josh Brolin and
no,
DC,
it's not confirmed Deathstroke, but he is directing a DC.
Speaking of Josh Brolin and DC. Jonah Hex is a character that we haven't seen on the big screen since that bogus ass movie. No disrespect to Josh Brolin.
Did you just drop that name like that?
I did.
And Haley Steinfeld?
No, from what's her name?
Megan Fox.
Oh, Megan Fox is in
it. Yeah,
Megan Fox is in it.
Fucking love that movie, man.
What's it called? So Jonah Hex, I'm pulling up my notes right now.
Dude, they're making that new Constantine movie. What if Jonah Hex comes in here? Because someone that has a bunch of scoopers and stuff, he actually sent out a picture of Jonah Hex and for some reason was like, man, I'm hearing a bunch of stuff. And was talking about the story where he gets the scars on his face.
Like there's so many different stories about that too. They go about him
battles damn, I can't remember who he's battling, and that gives him the scar. It's a demon, no?
Dude, I keep forgetting. There's like I said, there's different stories about how that happens. I'm trying to pull up what I had written down about Jonah Hex. I
just want some more because Jonah Hex is kind of like he like fights demons and stuff.
Does he?
Jonathan Shaik. I hope I said that right. I'm sorry if I butchered your name, man. I haven't pronounced it like ever, but he's fantastic. I like him as Jonah Hex. He's great.
He plays Jonah Hex in what?
In the CW in Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we had talked about this a bit earlier. The thing with Legends Tomorrow, as controversial as it is for the fan base, people liking it or disliking it, it was structured to where everything did connect and it made sense.
Yep.
We went from the Arrow being like the Iron Man, the Iron Man of the CW, and we ended up with Crisis, and we got Black Lightning, Batwoman, all that.
Ezra Miller was in.
He was. They were in
that post-credit scene of the Flash.
So I mean, they have fantastic actors. They should have brought that onto the screen, but what do I know? I'm just a guy talking into a microphone. But onto the next point.
Yet another cishet man talking into a microphone.
onto the next point, I had written down a couple more things. We've got animation. So we were talking about how they want to connect the whole worlds, the mediums. I don't know how it's going to translate with anime. I can understand the TV show. I can kind of understand video games to a point. But we've already built so much of the Arkham games from Rocksteady and everything.
That new Suicide
Squad kills the Justice League, like that's coming out, and I still think of that as like the DC, like Kevin Conroy's Batman. I still think of rest in peace to Kevin Conroy. I still think of the Arkham games as that's still Kevin Conroy's Batman. So
this potentially might be a sequel to Arkham Knight too, because Batman was dead, and that.
Well, I'm just telling you, man. It just seems like I said at the top of the pod, it seems like too much. It seems like they're trying to
handle way too much and juggle too much, and
the animated stuff specifically. The animated stuff has been their best part of their any of their shit the past.
Yeah, and they're about to mess it up,
and they need to keep that. They need to keep that away from the live action stuff, and I don't understand why they would want it all interconnected without, like we talked about earlier, throwing that multiverse tag on it.
Because animation is cheaper to make than live action, so they're like that way we can they're like that way we can build an expansive universe quicker.
Well, then should they finish Zack Snyder's story in animation and drop it on Netflix or HBO?
Not. That's just done.
Exactly.
Zack Snyder's done. But that's the thing. That way they can.
But that's a point, though. No.
Sure. Like, yeah. But I feel like that might be something to do. They'll be like, we'll release 2 live action movies a year. We'll have 3 animated movies in there. Maybe origin stories for characters we haven't met yet. That'll then be introduced in live action in the future, and then a video game. And then, it's like
but what about the normies that aren't like us and that'll sit there, wait for watching that, and have an animated series that
it's the same argument people make against Disney Plus shows, that people are like, normies aren't going to sit there and watch 7 hours, 8 hours of a Marvel Disney Plus show. Like, I'm just going to show up for the movies. And that's the thing. How interconnected do you want them to be, right? People who have lives and who are adults aren't going to sit through 2 movies a year, 3 animated movies a year, 2 video
origin shows,
comic books. It's like, how much do you want them to keep track of, and how interconnected and tight knit are these stories going to be? Can normal people follow them? Are they
going to throw in Easter eggs in the movies that are like, well, this happened while y'all were gone, in case you didn't read this comic book, in case you didn't play this 40-hour long video game.
Yeah, exactly.
Batman died.
Exactly.
And then you have Nightwing come in. It's like, I don't. I'm cool with connectivity, all that stuff. Marvel hasn't done that. Marvel's got their movies, they would though. They really don't have their animated stuff. They kind of do. The video games, really, they have some video games, but it's not connected to the movies. I'm excited to see how it all goes down. Am I a little nervous? Hell yes. Yes, I want that shit to be what it could be. It could be so much. And I'm going to tell y'all this straight up. This is kind of off topic. The way to start it off, if you want to get to the nitty gritty, you have a Batman, Superman, World's Finest movie, and it's them being fucking homies. Bro, they've known each other for some years, and they're best friends like they're supposed to be. That way, when you go down 5 years later and you have a BVS, it means something when they're fighting. And when you're watching BVS, it's like, what the fuck is wrong with Clark?
Y'all just met. Yeah.
Like, you just met. Bruce has no idea who you are, and you're cheating, and you meet Bruce Wayne, you're like, I knew it's Batman. Like, you've got a heartbeat and all this stuff.
You want them to just take us, the audience, prop them in the middle of a world that's already been built and established, and
we talk about having different takes, different tones, different settings. It's time to sort of go back to the source material.
Exactly.
Give me a Batman Brave and the Bold.
Bingo. All-star Batman.
Goated animated Batman right there. Goated Batman.
If you want me to be real honest with you, I want Hal Jordan to lose his mind and become Parallax.
Yeah. Ooh. I want a Kyle Rayner live action movie.
I
want the Jon Stewart.
I will cut my hair and be Jon Stewart for this movie.
So do you think that we heard about J.J. Abrams getting his J.J. Abrams would be in jail for stealing that money that HBO DC gave him a few years ago. He robbed them. He has done nothing with that ever since.
Finesse.
He hit a lick.
How much was
the greatest lick? Dude, like $145 million.
Damn.
A lot of money for him to drop. Yes, for the robot.
To not do jack shit. They didn't do dick.
Shit. He did not do a thing. The only thing was the Jon Stewart, Guy Gardner, was it Hal Jordan, buddy cop Green Lantern show, which has now been scrapped and is going to be
the one that was by Greg Berlanti and
yes,
that one's
Yeah, now
Gone.
it's scrapped and
gone.
it's about to be something else. And they've been working on it for 3 years. There goes 3 years of
Weren't
production.
him and Ta-Nehisi Coates making a Superman movie also?
Yeah, they're working on that.
With Michael
Superman
B. Jordan. Or when was Michael B. Jordan's a series or a show?
He was attached to it.
I think it was
Which I'm not gonna lie to you. I love Michael B. Jordan. I don't want to see him. Especially if it's oh my God, Luis, are you serious? Because I kind of agree.
Killmonger was the exception. Killmonger was the exception.
Yeah, and I'm kind of pushing it because
actually, let me rephrase. Killmonger and Fruitvale Station, because Fruitvale hurt me. But
I love Black Panther
those two roles were like the exception. You seen that movie? What's it called? Was this Chronicle? Was he in that one?
It was.
I was like, bro, what the hell's going on?
Oh yeah.
I
don't even Creed. I'm not a big fan of Creed.
I love Creed. I love Creed. Good in it,
it's a fun movie, but
I'm ready for this third one. But
because Jonathan, baby,
there's a Jonathan Majors, bro.
Jonathan, my stand account activity. He looks like one punch, you're done.
That's Kang the Conqueror.
That workout that he was doing or whatever.
We was Kangs.
Talk about yoked.
Boy, jackified.
Damn.
Not even jacked. He jackified.
Jack and Jill.
He jacked up. Real quick, let's see what else we got left on the dock right here, on the docket, on the agenda.
Hey,
so we've kind of covered a bunch
into Green Lantern question.
What you got?
I was talking the shit. Where did it go? The would you rather have a power ring?
I was saying like what else we've covered. We've covered everything pretty much as far as our thoughts, our speculations. We can go ahead and go into the game of the week, and we'll just wrap up today's episode. And so, Graham, go ahead and do the game of the week. Would you rather?
Would you rather have flight or super speed?
Flight.
Super speed.
Super speed. I agree. Yeah. Are you fast? Do you have the super speed when you fly? Because that's.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could break the sound barrier with flight, then screw it. I'll take flight, but.
You can time travel with super speed.
That's exact. Yeah.
What about the power ring? And if so, what color? Or
what color is the white one? What's the white one?
I think that's like the life lanterns.
Yeah, it's the white lantern.
Because the black lanterns are death, right?
I was gonna pick the black or the
red ones are cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's rage right
there. Yeah, I got a lot of that.
That boy said he born out of rage.
Or would you rather have these influencers?
So would you rather have magic?
Nah. Would you rather power ring? Power ring.
He said next question, no magic. Yeah. Would you rather have super strength or invincibility?
Invincibility.
With that, yeah, because
you can work out and get stronger, but
you can't
beat. You could be strong as shit and a bullet still kill you.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's real. I don't
give a shit. I don't give a shit how much you work out. If I got the 9 on my side, you're done.
This next question, there's only one answer, and if y'all answer incorrectly, then
I already know what Luis is going to answer.
Yeah,
Captain Horny Man.
Let's go. Ask the question.
Ask it. God. So the question is, Graham, you want to ask this one?
Yeah. Would you rather live in Gotham, Metropolis, Central City, Star City, or the Amazonians' homeworld,
Themyscira.
Where there's no men, and there's no men.
Horny.
Straight up have woman warriors.
Captain Horny Man.
No, I think I'll take Gotham.
You take Gotham where rent is like $5 a month because there's crime every 5 feet.
There's rats all over the place.
Yeah,
I would live in
you step out of your the balcony or whatever. You let off 2 shots ring and your rent goes down by $5.
Themyscira is done.
I'm living in Metropolis because I feel safe.
Wow.
I get paid to live in Gotham.
Yeah, well, I got
that about wraps it up for our week, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to our chaos and banter. We truly appreciate everybody watching and listening to our podcast. Show us how much you enjoy this podcast by leaving a 5-star review. Send this podcast to your friends and family. Follow us on Twitter at the Podtastic Four with the number 4, or spelled out on Instagram and TikTok, the Podtastic Four. We have so much coming up, and we appreciate all the love and support you guys give us. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys on the next episode of Podtastic Four.
Shout out Community Beer Company from Dallas, Texas.
This is awesome, an unpaid,
unpaid sponsorship.
This shit sucks.
Shout out Community Beer Company from Dallas, Texas. Support them. They're awesome.
All right, guys. Tune in on the next episode of the Podtastic Four.